Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you. I'm going to read from Sarah Arthur's 1 Year Daily Grind to get us started. And most of the time, I stay roughly within the calendar for these readings. So I really was intrigued by this one. This was quite a coincidence that this one came up because we just talked about something very similar in our Tuesday morning Bible study this week. This is about kind of pattern recognition, and she makes reference to the book of Judges. I've been reading through the book of Judges, rather reading a chapter now and then as time and memory allow. You know how it goes. And recently the opening line of chapter 13 got my attention. Again, the Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight. It was the again that jumped out at me. Obviously, there was a pattern developing there, but I'd been reading the book so slowly that I'd lost track of the thematic thread. So I skimmed back through Judges from the beginning and realized what I'd been missing was a phrase that's used over and over to introduce each new episode. Again, the Israelites did evil. Always paired with this curious little phrase, so the Lord handed them over to insert enemy here. This is significant. The point isn't just that the Israelites kept messing up. The point is that every time they did, they lost their freedom. How many agains are to be encountered in our own lives? We turn away, God steps in and helps us, brings people into our lives who tell us the truth, for example, and for a while we repent and attempt to get ourselves on track. But then the material attractions of the world glitter before our eyes, or we receive the attentions of popular people, and before long we're no longer interested in spiritual things, but start chasing after the things of this world. Again is a lifestyle, an ongoing pattern of resistance to the living God, and it's not without consequences. Sooner or later, he turns us over to the things we crave. He hands us over to these other masters who do not love us, to what we thought we wanted. How many agains must there be in my life before I recognize my worthless idols for what they are? Saints, I'm fond of a saying that wisdom is being able to learn from other people's mistakes. Because, of course, we usually learn from our own mistakes. When we face the consequences of them, we realize, well, I don't want to do that anymore. But wisdom is being able to look at someone else's lives, someone else's pattern, and to see what went wrong there and to know I don't need to do the same as they did. And so it's good for us to be able to recognize the problems or the flaws that someone else has run into so we can avoid them ourselves. The funny thing is that sometimes even when we do make those mistakes ourselves, we can't really see what's happening. We don't have a good perspective on ourselves. And so we can get into these patterns of doing the same thing wrong over and over and over again and not learning anything from it, not fixing anything about how we're approaching life or the world. Or, for some people, it's in how we manage our relationships. And we can't see what we're doing wrong, and so we keep getting into these same kind of broken or doomed to fail relationships. For some of us, it's money. We don't know how to handle our money. We don't see what we're doing wrong with money, and so we never seem to have what we need. We're always, running short. For some of us, maybe it's our time management. For some of us, who knows what it is. We have these patterns. From the Christian perspective, one of our most discouraging patterns is that we continually doubt God's judgment, right? We continually choose our own wisdom ahead of God's wisdom. Another word for this would be pride. And we make this mistake over and over again of thinking that we know best. And so it lands us in all kinds of trouble. As Sarah points out, the story in Judges, the pattern is every time we make these mistakes, we make them again and again and again, God allows those mistakes to take over, to have dominion over us. And it's a bad place to be. is tough because we haven't really seen what we're doing wrong. We don't have much hope of doing it right. One of the things that does help in the stories of the judges are indeed the judges themselves, these leaders that God appoints for the nation of Israel, these people who are raised up in order to have a better vision for where Israel needs to go. And so they can help redirect the people out of their patterns, out of their sin, and back toward the right path. Saints, I wonder, who is it in your life that you can trust to help redirect you when you get stuck going down the wrong path? Who is it that might have the perspective to look at you from the outside, to look at your patterns, and to be able to say to you, you know what, I don't think that's working for you. I think maybe you should try something different. Saints, would you look for that person this week? Would you try to find someone who you can trust to give you an outside perspective on yourself? Someone who might be able to help you realize what's going wrong so that it does not happen to you again and again and again? That's your devotional for this week. Saints, I hope it's helpful, something worth thinking about, and I hope you're doing well and staying healthy. I'll be praying for you. Please keep praying for me, and I will see you again soon. Y'all take care.